G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to the round 14 stock market. Well, it's a round that many of us have been dreading. The Cats, Dogs, Suns, Roos, Port and the Saints all have the bye this week. So what I'm going to do and what I'm going to focus on in this week's stock market video is all of those players that have either already had their bye or are yet to have their bye, and that only includes obviously Richmond and Collingwood. So that's what I'll be doing for this week because I don't think there's really any point looking to bring in any players that have their bye this week. Something to keep in mind though is that if you are going for overall, your score does still count for that overall rank. But if you are more of a leagues player and just playing for leagues, this week is a bye for SuperCoach League. So your score will still count for overall, but a bye for SuperCoach Leagues. So we've got a couple of players up the top there. Riccardi, didn't he play well on the weekend? Terrific stuff from him. Jordan Butts, he had the bye last week. Does he keep his spot? I'm not too sure. Hopefully he does. Josh Kennedy, he's at a really nice price. Just over 400k if you're looking to bring a cheap midfielder in. And we see a couple of stars there down the bottom. Piggy Oliver and my man Lockie Neal. So let's have a look at what the options are this week. And remember, I'm just focusing specifically on non-buy players. So the defenders, 500k plus. The cupboard's pretty bare, isn't it? And to be honest, I don't know if Luke Ryan's even going to get up this week after landing heavily on his hip. Didn't play any of the fourth quarter, and I think Longmuir has said that he's just not sure if he'll be right. So red flags for owners there. Certainly don't look to bring this bloke in this week. The two that you would look to bring in are the Seagull and Rory Laird. The Seagull, he's right every week, even though that break-even's in the red, only by 2 points. I think that he can get over that comfortably, to be quite honest. And Rory Laird, don't let that break-even of 151 scare you off. If you're planning on getting him in, that will be for the remainder of the season. So if he goes down a little bit, that shouldn't matter too much. If you're looking to get a premium midfielder in this week, Rory Laird, I think, would be a really good selection. I think you'll average 110 plus. The only reason why I don't have the actual buy now there is because that break-even's 50 over, but I would recommend him as a buy now, even though I've got the binoculars there. Onto the mid-price defenders, well, you'll see a pretty common theme here, and that is the pod symbol. So you see that everywhere. We've got either the binoculars, the pod, or the chopping block, because I can't really say confidently to buy now any of the players that we've got here on the list. You can see that May and Andrews there have really low break-evens compared to their average there. Crisp, he's been playing okay. Doherty finally went over the ton. Amazing throners. Thank you, Doc. Gee, that's been the first time in, about 10 weeks it feels like. I'm not too sure. Day, he could be on the chopping block if you're looking to upgrade this week or even downgrade in order to upgrade in another area. Quainer, he came back earlier than expected. Maybe keep the binoculars on him, but remember, he does have the bye next week as well. Shepherd, he's been a really nice pod. I've got him twice there, haven't I? I don't like him that much that I've got him there twice. I just didn't realise that, sorry. Salem as another pod. Maynard, I actually like him, but the trouble is that he has the bye, obviously, after next week as well. So if he had already had the bye, I probably would have had a buy now on Maynard, to be quite honest, because I've really rated his season as well. Chera, I think he'll be a great get next year. I might even look to start this bloke because I think he'll probably be available in the back line, maybe with some DPP in the midfield there. Future gun, Adam Chera. And Jeremy McGovern, well, yeah, a little bit up and down, but that averages all the way up to 92 now. So with a break-even of 87, if you're looking to take a bit of a gamble, maybe you could go with a Jeremy McGovern type. Some more mid-prices here. It's funny because you will start to see some buy nows, even though the break-evens are a lot higher. It's simply because I rate these picks higher and I think they're more reliable types of SuperCoach players, even though you may be not getting as much value as some of the players on the previous page. Bashahuli, he had a nice score, so his break-even's all the way down to 88 now. It was in the high hundreds a week or two ago, so he's pretty good value, but again, you'd get him in for 1 week, then he has a bye, which could be a little bit of an issue for you. Hooker is a bit of a pod there. Sard and Haynes, I think they're both buy nows. They've been some really good options during the year. 99 average and 105 there. I'd probably like Haynes as a better pick. I selected him in my side, for example, last week, but he's been down on form slightly, hasn't he? But nothing too terrible. But he was sort of going that consistent 115 mark probably around a month ago. So I still think he's a good buy, though. Shannon Hearn, he's past it now as a super coach pick. He's a trap. Don't go anywhere near him. Now that I've cursed him, he'll go 150 plus, so you should probably get on him now. Mills, yeah, look, he's got 100 average, 100 break even, so if you're looking to go somewhere different, get a bit of a pot in, you could get Callum Mills. Ridley, I've got as a buy now, but maybe not because he's not in terrific form at the moment, but I'll just rate him as a player, I think. Average, break even, spot on, so you're getting no value whatsoever. That break even will probably go up again next week if he doesn't get a fairly solid score this week, but we know what he is capable of, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does come back with something around a 115 to a 120. Thurlow, don't know why his break even is in green there, sorry, but I've always said that he's a trap, and I continue to say that. Don't look to get him in. Maybe you could trade him out if you're looking to upgrade and you've got enough trades there. Short, I don't mind as a pick, along with Zach Williams, but yeah, geez, I thought he would have scored a little bit better on the weekend, Williams, but his break-even's gone above that 125 mark again. And just to throw a really random pot out there, there is no value here, but if you haven't got anything over 400k to spend and you're desperate to get a non-buy player in this week in your defensive line, then Daniel Rich is there. He's going to return from a hammy, I'm pretty sure. Was suspended as well, but yeah, was a little bit tight in the hammy there, so a little bit of a risk, but you know, if you've got under 400k to spend, then you're going to need to take a bit of a risk, aren't you? So you could look at Richie, or else maybe wait a week, and you could probably get him under that sort of 370 to 360 mark next week if you want to wait a week. And the defenders under 300k. Cottrell, I don't know if he plays, worried about his job security. Same as Rivers there, but it was nice to see him come back and play a game. Hartley, I've just got there as a pod with a really low break even if you're looking to go really, really different. I think Jordan Butts, he's your best buy if he plays, simply because of his price and the fact that he will be going up in cash. And hopefully Adelaide are going to keep playing the kids. Does he keep his spot? I'm not too sure. Look, that average of 40, you could probably expect an average of around that. But I know for me, in my team, for example, I've basically got no cover in the back line. Some of us may have a Noble, McPherson type that we need to look to maybe move on to upgrade somewhere else. So I think out of anyone here, he's your best buy. A few blokes there as well on the chopping block. BZT, Brander, Williamson. I thought he played pretty well, Williamson, on the weekend, actually. And the man down the bottom there, Stephen Hill, I think we need to sell. Look at that break even. He's going to start leaking cash very, very soon. I suppose you've got the option of either keeping him this week if you're really struggling, to get 18 on the field, because it is the toughest buy round of the year that we will face. But if you can, I would certainly recommend to move this bloke on. And on to the midfielders, 500k plus. The man up the top, Old Man Mundy. He's had a really nice sort of last 3 weeks, and he's a super pod if you're looking to get someone in. He's in better form than Nat Fife, who I paid, I think 585 for a couple of weeks ago. So I've certainly cursed him. But look, if you're looking to go an absolute pod, I'd assume he'd be in less than 1%. I haven't actually checked it, but Mundy could be a massive, massive pod option. I like Andrew Gaff a lot better, though. I think he's a buy it now. Really high time on ground. He's hit form now. You know that you're going to get at least, a 95 plus each week from him. I think he's a pretty safe pick, to be quite honest. Matt Crouch, he's hit some form. Obviously had the buy last week, but if you look at his last couple of weeks, yeah, he's looking pretty good. So again, another one of those pods that I think is a buy now. Zach Merritt, I think he's your best buy. Look, value-wise, yeah, you're almost paying 600k now, but that average has gone all the way up to 115. He's had an outstanding last couple of weeks, Zach Merritt. Still not in too many sides as well, so a relative pod. I would recommend getting this bloke in, and I think he is probably your best buy out of the lot. Curnow and Pendlebury as some pods there. Andy McGrath, I've actually got as a buy now as well, because the last game I saw him play, he just looks sublime, this bloke. So, again, he's a pod. I don't think that he'll have a massive type ceiling, but yeah, this bloke could be anything in the future. Again, he really stepped up this year. A bit of a breakout season, I think, for Andy McGrath, and I've actually got him there as a buy now for the first time this season. Walsh and Adams, they're both pods. I love Taylor Adams in particular. Titch, I think, is a buy now. He'll be one of those blokes that hopefully just should get you around that 120 plus each week. Nice and consistent. So he's been a great selection for me. I got him in about 3 weeks ago and he's gone 100 plus each time, which has been nice. And these blokes, I think you've just got to have the binoculars on. Jelly, does he play this week? Really unfortunate for owners that he got KO'd by the big mummy's knee on the weekend. Fife, he's been extremely disappointing for me over the last couple of weeks, and lucky to get the score that he got on the weekend, I think. Oliver, he's still been in good form, I think, but, when your price has gone up to the 700k mark, that break-even's always going to go big if you don't, continue with those massive scores. Jared Lyons, he had a really poor score, not last week he had the bye, but the week before, so his break-even's all the way up to 173. Maybe you could wait a week on this bloke and then get him in if you're looking to complete your midfield, I suppose, at a later stage. And Lockie Neal, yeah, break even of 216. Terrible for those people that captained him a couple of weeks ago, but look at this bloke's season. He will bounce back for us. Don't lose the faith in Lockie Neal. If you traded him out last week for someone like a Jack Steele, yeah, very good move for that week, but Steele's out this week. Neal comes back, and he could hurt you a little bit. On to the mid-price midfielders now. 3 pods there up the top, Dacos, Murphy and Hopper if you're looking to go really different. I think the buy now is Josh Kennedy from Sydney, only 417k. This guy has been a SuperCoach beast in the past. Look, he's past his best for sure, but an average of 90, a break even of 72. If you haven't got much money to spend to upgrade that last position in the midfield with that M8, I think Josh Kennedy could be your man. Berry, he's been a really nice pod. I'd also recommend looking to get him in if you've got, haven't got that 500k to spend there. Sarong and Pickett, you've got to have on the chopping block, I think, now. Kelly, well, he's a real roller coaster, but I think just looking at that value in his price, he's one of those buy now type options. Shuey, I've got him in my side. Again, up and down, but, a decent pod you could look at. Tim Taranto, I've got as a buy now just because I rate him as a really good player. He hasn't hit his best form yet, and I think this bloke is ready to explode. So this is more of a gut feel more than anything with this buy now, but I think that he could be a bit of a sneaky selection. Brayshaw, he's been a little bit disappointing, hasn't he? Had a really low break even a couple of weeks ago, but just not a consistent type of a player. Cogs, McCluggage, Parker, keep the binoculars on. Would you get him this week? Well, possibly. I suppose anyone's really an option this week, given the fact that we're facing a really tough buy round, but value-wise, we're not getting a heap there. And on to the midfielders, under 300k. O'Halloran up the top, I've just got job security on him. I don't think he played last week, so yeah, does he come in this week? I don't think so. O'Neill, I think, is a buy now. Look, you're still paying 150. You're not getting massive value, but if he keeps his spot, the Eagles have already had their buy, and he's got a break even of -20. I suppose the reason why you got the buy now there is because, there's just really no other options. You're not going to pay 200k plus for a Wicks. Foot, he's got job security issues. Byteller just had their, anyway, in case you're looking to trade him out, remember, but he does have his buy this week. Dow, possibly a buy now if he plays this week, but Richmond are a really good side. I just don't think that he keeps his spot, but you never know, but he'll always have some job security concerns. But if you're looking for someone just to get in for this week to downgrade, have an on-field option if he does play, then you could get him as a buy now, I suppose. Scully, here's a pod there. Elijah Taylor got to sell. Remember, he's out for the season. Rusco, he's got job security issues. Don't know if he comes back into the side. And Vandenberg, just thought I'd throw his name out there. Have I got that average and break even mixed up? I'm not too sure. Maybe I haven't if he's at 256k. But just throwing out really just a pod option, to be quite honest. On to the Rucks. So Draper, you probably wouldn't buy him now at that price, even though he's got a negative break even at 21. Bailey Williams, you probably would look to get in. Does he keep his spot? I'm not too sure, but if you are looking to downgrade either in the back line or in the Rucks, then he could be a man that you'd look to get in. McAvoy, I love this pick. I really want to get him in this week. I'm looking to get him and Walters in, but I'm down by about 7,000. I just can't do that combination. But if you're looking for a nice pod, this guy is in absolutely ripping form. His last 3-round average, I think, is around the 130 mark, 129 it might be. I'd love to get this bloke in. I still may get him in and maybe change those Walters plans. I'm not too sure there, but I would really recommend this bloke as a buy now if you're looking to get a pod option in your rucks. Talk about another pod option, Bolter. He had a 110 over the weekend. They reckon this bloke could be the next Alex Rance. He's been a bit of a running joke at times over the last couple of years, Noah Bolter in SuperCoach circles. But look, if you're looking to go really, really different, you could even look to get him in your forward line. He's got a break even of 37, average of only 71. But yeah, risk versus reward, I suppose. Probably too risky though for my liking. Rob there as a pod, well, he hasn't set the world on fire this year, has he? He's still got an average of over 100, I suppose. But the reason why I like this pick, and I'm considering this bloke to be quite honest, maybe a bad move, but I just like the draw that he has in the last month. With some of the opponents that he plays, I don't think they're the best ruckman out there. So that's the reason why I like him, more due to his draw, not really what he's produced over the season. Remember, he does have a really high ceiling. We've seen 160s, 180s from this bloke before. So if he can hit form, he could be a sneaky pod selection. Darcy Cameron, you probably look to trade. Look, again, you've got that option of keeping him if you're desperate to get that 18 on field this week. But he does have his bye next week. This is the week that you would look to sell him. Big O, you could look to get him in, but he's coming up against Grundy. Look, to be quite honest, Grundy is looking a little bit lethargic, a little bit sore, a little bit slow. The Big O, after a week's rest, yeah, may score pretty well against Grundy. I'm not too sure, but you're not getting value there with that break even of 121. But in saying that, the Big O could get that 121. So he's an option to consider, but he's one that I'm not highly recommending. Nick Nat, does he have a rest this week? Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm really, really hoping that he does, so that way I can keep on to Sam Draper. I'm really worried about playing Draper on field against Natanui because I just don't think that he will score well. But yeah, I've got my fingers crossed selfishly as a non-Nick Nat owner that he has a rest. But for Nick Nat owners themselves, yeah, you'd obviously be hoping that he certainly plays this week. Had a bit of a disappointing round, didn't he? Not great time on ground, not as much as we've seen over the last few weeks, but he did look a little bit tired, and they're probably looking to limit his time on ground before the finals, I'd say. Grundy, well, he started off pretty slowly, but came home with a nice captain score for me in the end. And Maxi Gorn, well, he came straight back in, scored well. I'm spewing the way this whole situation has panned out for me. The Rucks have been an absolute nightmare for me this year, but if you kept on to him, well done. Yeah, he should look, he could even hit around that break even of 165, so he won't be going down near as much as I first expected. On to the forwards now. Again, the cupboard's pretty bare here, but I've got buy nows on 3 of these blokes here. I won't talk a lot about them because we talk about the same sort of blokes every week at the 500k plus mark. But Dusty's the one that I don't have a buy now purely because he has the buy next week. You're paying up for track, I understand that, but you know that you'll get a 120 plus most weeks from him. It's pretty rare if he goes under the 100 like he did last week, the week before. Lockie Whitfield, geez, didn't he have a really great game? I'll definitely be starting this bloke if he's got his DPP status. Look, will he be back DPP, forwards DPP? I'm not too sure. Be something mixed in with the midfield DPP, I would hope anyway. But he's been smashing it, killing me that I don't have him. Very, very popular player. He's in over 50% of sides. So if you haven't got him, you're paying up, but he's still good value and he's going to be a really good selection, I think. Mid-price forwards here, talk about a bad move, a panic move. I'll talk about this more in my round review video. Remember, I haven't uploaded that yet. Normally it's a round review before the stock market, but because we do have this really short turnaround, I am concerned and I want to get this out before I do that. But I ended up trading out this bloke, you wouldn't believe, this week, right at the last minute, about 10 minutes before his game started. I'll talk about that in my round review. Zach Fisher, he's a bit of a pod there. Same as Jeremy Cameron. Wouldn't trust him, though, Jeremy Cameron. Jack Martin, he's a buy now. Even though he had a disappointing score on the weekend, he's a buy now because of his price. You know, he's under 420. He's got that DPP. Break even of only 56. We saw what he can do a couple of weeks ago with that 140 score. So if you are desperate to get someone in at a value sort of a price, and I think Jack Martin is a buy it now. Dawson, he's been in some okay form as a pod. If you've got someone like Lukosius, you could look to swing him with maybe. That could be an option. Darcy Parish I like as a buy now. He's been in some good form over the last month. Not a huge ceiling, but he should get you anywhere between 90 and 105, I think. Wingard, really disappointing. Never rated him as a pick. Just wouldn't look to get him in. Sonny Walters, he's the man, even though that break-even is 111. Look at that average compared to all the other picks there. It's 102. He's been a terrific selection this year. I would love to get him in my side this week, even though he's got that high break-even. We'll just have to see, though. I'm not too sure, but still rate him as a pick, even though he's got that high break-even. Toby Green as well. Look, if Jelly doesn't play, does he run through the midfield more? Probably not, I don't think. Look, the midfield has to be pretty decimated, I think, at GWS in order for Green to run through there. But, yeah, it could be a sneaky selection. Maybe not this week. If you are desperate, it could look to go there. But maybe next week, if he does get 100 plus this week, you could look to get on him. And we'll finish off with the forwards under 300k. Hasn't this guy been a wonderful selection? I got asked the previous week, who's the better selection, Riccardi and Mosquito. They were really, really tough to split, but I went with Riccardi just because I thought that he had that, extra role in the ruck where he could, relieve Mummy there, but he didn't need that role, did he, to score well? He was just great as a forward. I was worried about, would Finlayson come back in? No way. There's no way in the world that they're going to drop this bloke. He will play for the remainder of the season. This guy, I'm confident in saying that. So you could still jump on him. Look at that break even of negative 71. I would recommend to jump on him if you haven't got him, to be quite honest. You are paying a little bit more, but I think that he'll be a reliable bench option and you are getting some really nice value there. I've got Mosquito as a buy now because I'm guessing that most people would have had Riccardi, and if you compare him to most of the other options, he's not great. The one option that I do like better than Mosquito this week is Fullerton from Brisbane. I think he keeps his spot. Obviously, wait till the team sheets are announced before you do trade him in. But I think he could lock down that role for the next couple of weeks at least. Fullerton is that sort of tall forward, ruck relief type of player. So I really rated his game. Actually, I know it's only 54, but he looked pretty exciting. Really athletic Fullerton. So I would recommend him as a buy now this week if he does play. But wait to see the team sheets. I've just got Woodcock and Butterick there. You may look to trade out these blokes if you are desperate and you don't, and you can't, field 18 this week. But Woodcock still has a relatively low break even there as well, so you probably wouldn't be looking to do that necessarily. If you're forced to, maybe. Danaher, jeez, came out with a 103. Massive pod. I know a couple of people went there last week. Yeah, this is a tough one. I'm just not too sure. And last two blokes there, you could have on the chopping block with Arts and Bell. I've almost forgotten about this. Wes, this is for you, mate. We need to bring back grouse. So I was having this conversation with Wes over on Instagram before I forget, and he used the word grouse, and I thought, I've not heard that in ages. I think it might be a Victorian type of word. I used to use it all the time when I was a younger fella. Grouse is something that's awesome. I think in WA, used to be choice, is it? Like that's choice, maybe. I'm not too sure. I could be making things up there, but we do need to bring back grouse. So we'll be using that word more, Wes. We do need to bring that back, mate. So shout out to you there, mate, as well. So, guys, I think that will probably do us for this week. As I said, I focus purely on those fellas that have not had their buy yet. Oh, sorry, that have had their buy yet. I'm losing it towards the end of the video here. So hopefully I gave you a few options there to look at. Remember again, just another quick reminder that it is a bye week this week. Your score does still count towards the overall. It is top 18, but we do have a bye from our SuperCoach League matches. So if you're a league player, sit back this week. If you're overall, you're probably still stressing like me just to get sort of 18 to 19 players out there. But good luck with all of your trades this week, guys. Remember that I will have the round review video out maybe later on tonight, maybe in the next couple of days. I'm not too sure. I'll just have to see how I go for time. And also, I will be organising a podcast. I'm hoping to do it with Spills and possibly George, maybe even jumping on as well. It'll be fantastic to have a chat with those two blokes. So keep out for that in the next week or two. I will keep you posted on that. So as always, guys, good luck, and I'll see you soon with the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye.